Hey guys, what's up? I am back with another video today, and today I am doing the Arizona Cardinals football mock draft. So let's get started with today's video. First of all, I want to tell you, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me get to 150 subscribers before the end of March. I am only 8 subscribers away. Please help me hit that goal by subscribing. Like this video if you enjoy it. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below, and go check out any of my other mock drafts if you enjoy mock drafts. And hopefully I will have out your team's mock draft by the time I am finished up with this. I am doing the NFC West, then the NFC East, South, and then on to the AFC, and then I will finish up with the NFC North because I've already done a couple of preview mock drafts to almost every NFC North team. So I'll finish off with them and then do a first round mock draft, a couple of them in there. So make sure that you are subscribed and ready for that. With the number 16th overall pick, I picked Patrick Surtain II. I thought Patrick Surtain fit really well into the Cardinals organization, mostly because Surtain is a great boundary corner, and I think will really fit well into that system. And hopefully he'll be able to help to reproduce a good Cardinals secondary, which is what I think will happen. That was one of the things that was lacking, I think, with the Cardinals secondary, is that you have Budda Baker playing out here, and you have J.J. Watt playing on the defensive line, but with very little help on the boundary side, they really hurt. So when, and I will thank everybody for that advice that they've given me on my videos. I would like to give a shout out to Lisa for this suggestion on my last Lions mock draft, but to draw out what I'm thinking. So you have the offensive line here, and then you have a boundary corner, and you have out here. Budda Baker usually plays in the strong safety position. So you have, whenever he runs a route, if he runs it to the outside, usually the free safety is going to be over here when Budda Baker is coming around here and playing in the box, which is this area. This is the box part of the defense. If he's playing there, you need somebody like Patrick Surtain to be able to cover their number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. And with Patrick Peterson really aging, I think that this will be a great pickup. And it's really been something the Cardinals have been lacking. And with the addition of J.J. Watt and Budda Baker in that box, I think that edge rush, even though you lose Hassan Reddick, I think that edge rush is still going to be really, really good. And I think that when you are able to cover these boundary-type wide receivers, it's going to make it a lot easier to get a better defensive game out of that. So that was the number 16 overall pick. Other players that were available at this position was Christian Barmore, defensive tackle out of Alabama, Gregory Rousseau, defensive end out of Miami, Najee Harris, running back out of Alabama, J.C. Horn, cornerback out of South Carolina, and Azeez Ojulari, defensive end out of Georgia. So I really thought that if they didn't have J.J. Watt, I would have definitely picked probably Gregory Rousseau, the defensive end out of Miami. That's who I probably would have gone for. But I think with Christian Barmore and Gregory Rousseau and Azeez Ojulari, I think that they already have a good defensive line. I was debating on whether to pick Christian Barmore because they play a 3-4 system, and I think he'd fit in great there. But I thought you really need a cornerback, and I like Patrick Surtain over J.C. Horn. So I think that Patrick Surtain's the second best cornerback in this class behind Caleb Farley. So I think that this is a great pickup, especially at number 16. I think Patrick Surtain will be gone within the top 12 picks, because I think the Niners, if they don't pick up a quarterback with that 12th overall pick, I really could see them picking up a guy like Patrick Surtain with the 12th pick. And then Najee Harris, the Cardinals just don't need a running back. Kenyon Drake is a great running back, so that is a great pickup there. And speaking of the 3-4 system, with the 49th overall pick, I picked Carlos Bashman, otherwise known as Boogie Basham, Jr. And I know that means the same thing as the second, but that's how more people say it is Boogie Basham Jr. So basically, I'm going to explain a quick synopsis of a 3-4 system. So a 3-4 system, usually you have 5 offensive linemen down here, and then you'll have a 1, 2, 3. You'll you'll have a nose tackle right here, and then you'll have 4 linebackers. Usually, this and this are edge rushers, Usually, one of them will drop back into coverage, and one of them will rush. And let's say this guy is rushing. If he's rushing, that takes out this left tackle over here. But then you have 1, 1, 1, and a double team right over here. So you need to be able to get pressure on the right side so that way you're not collapsing the pocket and the quarterback can just escape out to this side. So if he's able to escape out to this side and you're only rushing 4 people, you need to be able to make sure on that outside defensive end position that you have a great player. And I think Boogie Basham fits in perfectly. So if you have J.J. Watt on this side, and you have Boogie Basham or Carlos Bashman, however you want to call him, on the other side, and you are able to have a great pass rush with only 4 guys, I think that really makes a Cardinals team with now Patrick Surtain in this mock draft, I think it makes them incredibly dangerous, and I think Carlos Bashman, if he's going to go to a team, the perfect system is a 3-4 system, so I think the Cardinals is a great fit for him, and with the 49th overall pick, that is just great value right there. And that there wasn't really anybody else available to be able to pick up. The other players that were available is Greg Newsom, the second cornerback out of Northwestern, Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle out of Alabama, Terrence Marshall Jr., wide receiver out of LSU, Asante Samuel, cornerback out of Florida State, and Elijah Moore, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. I was debating on whether to take Elijah Moore, but I'm like, Christian Kirk and DeAndre Hopkins are a good enough 1-2 punch, and even though it'd be nice to have a third wide receiver that's a little bit better than Larry Fitzgerald, I think that Boogie Basham or Carlos Bashman is a lot better pickup with the 49th overall pick than a guy like Elijah Moore would. And even though I think Elijah Moore, he's one of my favorite prospects, especially in the second round, I also think Carlos Bashman could be a late first-round pick. That's the other reason. It was a great value pick at that spot. So let me erase this over here. With the 79th overall pick, I picked Hunter Long, tight end out of Boston College. So here's the reason why I love Hunter Long, especially in the Cardinals system. So this is the first offensive player that I have. So I'm going to put 5 offensive linemen, and then we're going to have a tight end. And here's what the Cardinals, I think, are going to try to run if you draft a guy like Hunter Long. You're going to have a lot of trips coverage, which trips coverage is going to be this: 3 wide receivers to the far side of the field. This is the boundary side of the field. This is the far side of the field. You'll have a trips coverage right over here. And you'll have the tight end one-on-one with hopefully a favorable matchup against the quarterback, or against a linebacker. So usually this guy right here, the linebacker, will be covering the tight end. If the tight end drops back into blocking, he'll rush. If the tight end leaks out of the backfield, he'll go cover him. But here's the thing. Hunter Long really proved in college this year, and I loved that game against Clemson. He played really well there. He played really well, and I think it was Syracuse was the game before that for Boston College. He played really well there. I think that he is a very athletic tight end. I think my comparison for him would be like a Cole Kmet-ish guy. And if you're getting that in the 3rd round, that's a great value because I think that there are so many great players that you can get. And I think if you're getting Hunter Long in the 3rd round and you're able to play a really, really weak Arizona Cardinals tight end core, even though their wide receiver core is fantastic, it would be really good if you are able to add a dynamic tight end like Hunter Long. And even though he is not Kyle Pitts, he is not Brad Freemoth, he is not Brevin Jordan, he's not. But I think he is the 4th best tight end in this class. And to be honest, I think you could argue the third best tight end in this class depending on how much you like Brevin Jordan. And to be honest, you could argue number 2 depending on how much you like Brevin Jordan or Pat Freemoth. I think a lot of people have Hunter Long as 4th best tight end, but I wouldn't be out of my element if you're drafting him in the 3rd round to say that he's the 2nd best tight end value-wise and positionally-wise. I think that he can really fit in to this Arizona Cardinals system that's kind of running more West Coast. And I think the other thing, he is very athletic, so if he drops out into the flat and Kyler Murray is running over here, and he's running, he can just pass the ball right up here, and it really gives him an easy out. And I think that's one of the things that Mitchell Trubisky was really helped out with, Cole Kmet. He was great at getting to that flat area, so that within 5-yard range, and Mitchell Trubisky loved it in a bootleg type system. And even though the Cardinals don't run a bootleg type system, I think a flat guy that he is able to be in the flat and just kind of stay there and be strong and athletic, I think that is a great pickup for the Arizona Cardinals. With the 160th overall pick, I picked Tariq Thompson. I think I spelled his name wrong. No, I did. Tariq Thompson, safety out of San Jose State, and he really made a name for himself in this past season. He really made a name for himself. And to be honest, let me say the people that were drafted after Hunter Long. Spencer Brown, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. Kenneth Gainwell, running back out of Memphis. Diami Brown, wide receiver out of North Carolina. Hamilcar Rashad Jr., defensive end out of Oregon State. And Ramondre Stevenson, running back out of Oklahoma. I just thought Hunter Long was the best value there, and he was really the only position in need. You don't need to get an offensive tackle, you don't need a running back, you don't really need a wide receiver, you don't need a defensive end, and you don't need a running back again. So I thought he was a great value pick there. Before I get into this one, because I think it's better and it shows where I was at the draft, other players that were available for Tariq Thompson, safety out of San Diego State. I'm sorry. It's San Diego State. I'm sorry. Shaka Toney, defensive end out of Penn State. Drew Dyman, center out of Stanford. Darius Stills, defensive tackle out of West Virginia. So I thought my thinking is this. The Cardinals have a really, really thin safety position, and once you get past Budda Baker, he is a great safety. And to be honest, I would say he's at that, Adrian Amos level, which is an all-pro caliber level. He is a fantastic player. I would say he's a top 5 safety in the league. But here's the problem. You don't have anybody else to be with him, and I think Tariq Thompson could really be that. So, like I was talking about before with the boundary side, you have, let's say this is just the offense. You have the offense over here, so I'm just going to draw out the defense. And you have Budda Baker over here. You have your boundary corner, and you have your field side corners over there. And then you have all of your defensive linemen and your linebackers over here. Budda Baker plays as a linebacker sometimes. So let's say he is your linebacker. You still need a free safety, and I think that is where Tariq Thompson comes in. He would be able to help out Patrick Surtain or help out Patrick Peterson, or come down low and help out with the slot corner and fall back into a third zone, which is what a third zone would be if Patrick Surtain went up, covers a third of the field, he comes down, comes up, that's a third of the field, and Budda Baker replaces him with the final third of the field. And now you have a third zone, and I think the Cardinals will really like to drop back into that if they're able to. And I think that he was just the best value available, and one of the only players that I really liked that was left. With the 242nd pick overall, I picked Jonathan Adams Jr. Make sure I'm okay. Actually, it's an N, then A. Don't want to spell somebody's name wrong, because I have mine spelled wrong all the time. So I feel bad for people that have that. Either way, Jonathan Abrams Jr., wide receiver out of Arkansas State. Very unknown college, I'll give you that. But here's my thing. The Cardinals drafted a couple of years ago a wide receiver named Andy Isabella. Wide receiver out of UMass. Very short dude, very short. Has kind of developed pretty well. But he is kind of restricted in his talent and his level of play at the NFL caliber level because he is not short enough. He doesn't have the burst or the speed the same way Darnell Mooney has it, or Tyreek Hill, or anybody that's kind of a shorter wide receiver in the NFL. They have that kind of burst, so that kind of negates any of their shortness, so that they don't have to play the slot or stuff like that. They can still play boundary wide receiver. Here's the problem. When you have that, that means that you are really limited, and you only have Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald and DeAndre Hopkins, and that's a great wide receiver core. But you kind of need a fourth guy to come in for an aging Larry Fitzgerald and a pretty good but needs time to rest in DeAndre Hopkins or Christian Kirk. You have the best wide receiver in the NFL, I think, in DeAndre Hopkins. But the problem is that you need to be able to sub some guys in for different certain plays, and I think that's where Jonathan Abrams comes in. Or Adams, I'm sorry, I keep thinking it's Abrams. When he comes in, I think that this guy can be a specialty player, and I think that he'll be a great player overall. So I think when you're able to do that, it really sets a tone, and it really gives you a lot of depth, and that's one of the things the Chiefs have that has made them such a special team, is that they're able to have so much depth at that position. So with that, that's it for today's video. Make sure you hit the 2 videos down below, hit the subscribe button up here, and help me reach 150 subscribers for the end of the month of March. As always, have a great day. Bye.